I've been studying you today, and you're far more interesting than I expected. And we are in alignment on many things. So I think you are going to enjoy this interview. I'm sure my audience will enjoy it as well. This is Versace. It's a robe. Thanks. I got it for Christmas. Ordinarily, I don't spend $600 on a bathrobe, but my lady figured that I should have something designer, which I'm sure you're a fan of. Oh man. All right, here we go. I had you muted so they couldn't hear you, but we are live. They heard me. Um, you ready? All right. What's up, people? Hotep Jesus, we are back.
That Hotep Jesus dude.
What up, people? Yes, yes, yes. Thank you very much for letting me know Aaron was muted. I appreciate that. This connection to YouTube's a bit different. When I do these interviews, I don't know. Something about the way it was set up originally. But I have a very interesting guest for you today. I was exploring his world today. Paul's no homo, and was quite impressed with what I heard. Ladies and gentlemen, this gentleman here is very much a minimalist. I like to fancy myself as a minimalist. So me and him are in alignment. We also found out we're around the same age. How old are you, Aaron?
47.
Okay, yeah, I turned how old am I this year? 42 this year. So I definitely understand. But how are you doing, man?
Doing pretty good. Just
Yeah?
little haggard, little tired, a lot of work, a lot of production and things, tax season and all. But aside from that, it's pretty good. I'm in Vegas now, just chilling and relaxing, and hopefully the temperature is going to get warm enough you can golf or go for a hike or motorcycle ride. So I'm looking forward to that.
Dope. Ukraine got you down?
Not really. I don't pay attention to the news anymore. I can't watch the news. Life is too short. Life is too short to watch the news. It only that was my job for the longest time as an economist. Like that's all you do is you pay attention to the news. It's news with numbers. Like what's economics like? It's like news with numbers. That's it. And it's depressing and sad. And I'm like, I don't want to be this pissed off for the last third of my life. And so I just stopped watching the news. I don't go to restaurants or bars where there's like sports on or television screens. It helped. It helped a lot. Like if you're kind of down, just turn off the TV and see what happens. It was a marked improvement.
I tweeted earlier. I said because there's apparently World War III is happening in Ukraine or some bullshit like that, and I tweeted. I said the time you spent on Ukraine could have been spent with your family, and I was met with an angry mob of trolls. Why would people get upset at a comment like that where they feel like I should be invested in some news happening in a foreign country? What is the psychosis that's happening there? Why are they so invested?
Well, you got a family, right?
Yeah.
You got loved ones in your life. They don't. And if they do, they're not aware of it. No, it's true. That's what it is. Like most of these people, all they got is their politics. And that could be right-leaning politics. It doesn't really matter, but their politics. And I've seen it, and they're soulless. There's no soul. And so if you for whatever you slander their Jesus or their Allah, maybe this week it's Ukraine, or maybe you're on the Russian side or Putin, whoever, doesn't matter. If you're flipping about, you don't care. You've just insulted their God and by association their core, which there is none. And so that's why I found a lot of with politics and all that is it's just a bunch of worthless people who don't have a life going on. I'm not saying don't be concerned about the country. Don't be concerned about your environment and the future your family is going to be brought up in.
Right.
But when it becomes the core reason, like you know, like, what is Aaron, what are you? And I say, I'm a Republican or libertarian or whatever. I lost. No, I guess an author and economist. That indicates some kind of production value. You're a father, you're a husband, that kind of thing. And so when all you have is I'm a feminist, I don't want to say it's over, but it's over. Like, you wasted, you know, and you better find some real purpose and meaning in life beyond like, oh, I'm an environmentalist, I recycle plastic. So that's probably why they're upset that you said you could have spent that with your family. You could have spent that learning a new program. You could have spent that just hanging with your buddies, going fishing. You could have spent that time with your dad, having him tell you how ashamed he is and let down he is, like George Costanza's father did. But that's basically why you caught a little flack.
I also noticed a phenomenon. I call it favorite sports team in the bio. I find that these people who complain about my tweets also have their favorite sports team in their bio. And you can tell me how you feel about this. I look at it as someone who has, like you said, has no production value. So they find their purpose in other things, such as sports. What do you make of this individual? Is it the same diagnosis as the other individual who has no life?
Yeah, their god is sports, but there's also an element of tribalism. And I don't know how familiar you are with Byzantium history, but did you ever hear of the Nika revolts?
No.
Okay, so real quick, they had teams back in those days, except it was gladiators and fights and all that. And it was based on a color. So it was like blue, green, red, I think the whites. Well, one time the blue gladiators beat the white gladiators. And the white gladiator fans revolted, and it almost brought down the Byzantium Empire. And this is where a real woman, by the way, if women want to like, yes, queen, yeah, all right, here, Princess Theodora, that was a real gal. And if she didn't tell her husband to nutsack up and go stop the revolts, the Byzantine Empire would have collapsed before that. But it shows you could kind of see that like with soccer, with the hooliganism over in Europe, where whatever Chesterfield loses against Worcestershire Field or whatever field they're playing against. That they'll go and tear up cars and all that. That happened at my university that I went to. If in the rare case the Minnesota Gophers won anything, you know, Dinkytown, which was the college, they tear. So there's a lot of like our team, and that's, I wouldn't say it's projection, but it's living vicariously through other people and having some kind of purpose and agency, because you put on a Bears jersey, or you put on whatever LeBron James shirt or something with somebody's name on the back of it that isn't your own name. So yeah, it's bred in circuses, but I guess a little bit more to a psychological effect. Like, oh, hey, if you buy this thing, this trinket, you belong to this team, and conferred upon is some kind of existential value or purpose. But it really isn't real value. You got to go do something. You got to create something. But yeah, that's been with us. That's been part of the human psyche for a long time.
I like that Byzantine story, how it could bring down an empire, because I see that happening today, not directly, but indirectly, right? Because men are so invested in nonsense that the things that are supposed to be handled, the things that require their responsibility and attention, are not getting the required attention, right?
Right.
What are some things in society you believe that men are not paying attention to that need to be paid attention to?
They're kids. They're bleeping kids. Like, okay, if I got struck by lightning and died, that was the number one answer, and at 99% of it, invest in your bleeping kids.
Yeah.
That's the number one thing. Nearly all the problems you got today, nearly all of them, comes from the fact dads are not investing in their kids. Now, a lot of that could be the ex kicked them out or whatever else. Maybe you can invest in your kids, but like, okay, once they turn 18, get in there and start investing in them again. And so I kind of coined a phrase called present but absent fathers, because it's one thing, you got your deadbeat dad, he doesn't want to have anything to do with you, and they're gone, and they wouldn't be able to tell you much of anything anyway. But for every one of those, I got to imagine what is much more common now in the United States is the present but absent father, where, okay, they're married, but the dad don't invest any time with you. Like, okay, now, yeah, you're old enough to remember Leave It to Beaver, right? Or the Andy Griffith Show, if it starred Opie. The whole premise was Wally and the Beav screwed up, or Opie screwed up, But then in would come Andy or Ward, and they'd explain why what they did that seemingly was the right thing at the time out of boyish naivete was the wrong thing, and you learned a lesson. All right. I don't remember having that from my dad. I just remember getting spanked and yelled at because, I screwed up or I broke a glass or something like that. There was no reason or explaining or investing in your child. I got another buddy. He had a kid, still has the kid. He didn't lose or anything. But when and I've seen her grow up, but when she would naively, innocently do something wrong or screw up, he'd sit down and talk. She's only 2 years old. He would explain to her why that was a bad idea, or why what she tried failed, or why it's not nice and why you hurt that person's feeling. Now the young girl became a little young lady and one of the best behaved children I know. But you can't just make the deposit in the bank, then the withdrawal comes out and you don't invest in that withdrawal and turn it into an investment. You have to sit. I don't care how tired you are after work. I don't care how much your wife is nagging you and how much you wish you'd go take a long walk off a short pier. You got to invest. Like, hey, son, let's do with the home. Like, didn't your old man got you a Commodore 64, right?
Yeah.
Well, that must have been, did he just give it to you, say, well, good luck, and then go off to the bar? I'm going to imagine you guys spent a little time plugging it in and figuring out how it worked a little bit, right?
Well, yeah, technically it was my brother's, but yeah.
Oh, okay. But the point is that
But right, yes. When I had the PC, when the PC came about later on, yes, my dad sat me down and explained things. Absolutely, yeah.
Right. And so in terms of morality, ethics, proper behavior, history, law, everything that you got to know how to function as a young man or woman, that's the guy's responsibility. You got to get in there. And I understand maybe that's not possible because of divorce law or a ruling or whatever, but 18, day one, the other gal doesn't have possession. You're in there and you're explaining things and you're investing so that their life is easier because they make the right decisions. So that would be the number one thing I'd say is that dads don't invest in their kids no more.
Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, Hotep Nation is dedicated to homeschooling across America. Make sure you go to hotepnation.com/donate. And please, Natasha Kayleen just put the link in the chat. Appreciate you, Natasha Kayleen. Support as usual, as always. You are loved most dearestly, if that's a word. Aaron, you call yourself an asshole. Why do you call yourself an asshole?
Because by today's standards, I am one. Anyone who tells the truth is an asshole to the rest of society. And you could try to convince society you're not, and that's just not going to happen. That's pissing into a hurricane. And so the reason I started calling myself an asshole, not like Prince called himself Prince. I set up a company called Asshole Consulting. And the reason why is that I wrote several books that were finance and investment related. People had questions. And I noticed this early on in my career, like the answer was obvious to whatever problem. The problem was that answer required you point out the emperor had no clothes and people were way too emotionally invested in the outcome or counter advice or things like that. And so what I decided to do is, like, if I call myself an asshole, that gives me the right to be an actual asshole and tell people the truth. And so that way I could cut through the bullshit. I don't have to dick around about your feelings. I don't have to beat around the bush. And instead of sitting there for 4 hours, or some people sit there in front of a therapist for a lifetime, I can say, you're fat, lose the weight, you might find a guy. Boom. That was 10 seconds. That'll be $35, please. Now get the F out of my office and go find yourself a guy. And it's done. And then no one can say, oh my God, he was so mean. It's like, like what's his name? Johnny Depp, Pirates of the Caribbean, pirate. I could be like, asshole. And then they go away. And then it's a lot easier being able to work in business where I can just, be black and white, call it as it is, not beat around the bush, and boom, take it or leave it, and it's done. And so it's a big mental release. It's a lot easier on me mentally, or I could just shoot the straight dope, and people can either take it or leave. I don't care, because I've presented myself as a rude, impolite person.
You know what? That's freaking brilliant. And I didn't even realize I was doing that, because I consult people, and that's funny because I always start the conversation off with like, yo, I'm a complete asshole. Like, I'm going to tell you exactly how I feel. So if you get butthurt, tell me right now so we can figure out some way to work So it's interesting. I didn't know I was doing that. I thought I was doing this because I just didn't want to hurt people's feelings. But I'm actually doing this because I'm saving my time.
Right.
And myself headache.
Well, and then you worked in the mortgage industry too. Like you had to deal with a ton of bullshit.
Yes.
And all that, oh no, market's not going to, oh no, housing doesn't go down. All this other, and it gives you this headache. And that's par for course if anyone working for a modern day employer is they are more concerned about people's feelings and being polite and PC this and PC that than they are an actual profit or just getting the darn work done. And I did that. I had enough, and I can't deal with that no more. And so, and I think there's also a huge demand for it where you got coming up on probably your third generation of young people now who've just been, I would say lied to, but certainly so coddled and shielded from the harsh truth that, okay, you know, they didn't have Ward or Andy tell them how it is. Now they come out with their master's degree in social work or whatever, $200,000 in debt. And oh my God, why am I failing? Like, well, you're fat and you got a useless degree. Well, that may hurt, but that's the only time that person was told the truth. And now they're like, hey, wait, you know, this is a very small minority of people. I am fat and I do have a worthless degree, and they can actually turn it around. So I think they're not the majority, certainly not the majority, but there's a segment of people in all of the West who are sick and tired of it's not even not having success. That certainly is, but trying what they were told to do over and over and over again, and then failing every time. I think it's it's how it's maddening. And the frustration that they got. And for someone to come in like, well, that's why it don't work. Here's the simple solution. You were lied to. Do it this way. And they may not turn into a success overnight, but at least the confusion is gone. And I think you just shout from the mountaintop saying like, it's over here, might at minimum give their brain a reprieve from the delusion around them.
Our generation was much different. Even our programming was much different. Our programming was very much just like asshole. Like we had Beavis and Butthead, Bart Simpson, you know, these Roseanne. Like they just told it to you like it was, right? Like Roseanne and Ted.
Even early Simpsons, you could get a joke or two in there. Yeah.
Right. What happened with this generation where they became so soft and coddled?
Well, I think that's happened long ago. You have World War II generation, Great Depression, World War II. Boomers, and every generation has had it easier ever since. So the baby boomers were, I don't know how the hell how much money you had to have shoved up your ass to think Jim Morrison was good. I don't know how you got to think that Come On Baby Light My Fire or the Beatles was like as popular as they were. I mean, and then the free love and all that. And just all that was an abdication of responsibility. And I remember being a kid, how they made fun of Leave It to Be. Oh, what? You think I'm June Cleaver? I'm just going to be in the kitchen and raise my children? Oh, what? Ward Cleaver? That square? Then? Oh, you mean the guy who's an engineer who by today's standards would make $150,000 is what every woman would dream of having right now? That guy? You know, that decay was starting long ago. And then it's just been depending on what generation, whose money you're spending. Boomers are spending World War II generation parents' money. They squander away their inheritance. I don't know a boomer that's got enough money to save for retirement. Gen X, our parents borrowed the money. Like, oh, we got to have Nike high tops. You got to roll your jeans. You got to have. You remember Cavaricci's? You old enough to remember Cavarici?
Yeah. Why does that sound familiar?
Because it was my slightly old Gen X douchebag people. Like, if you didn't wear it, you'd have to get in fights. All right, you know, it's just these classical 80s materialistic bullshit.
Right,
is what that was. Then you got the millennials and the Zoomers now. That's borrowed money from the government and more recently printed off money. Ain't nobody paying for this shit. Ain't nobody working up the money, paying cash for all this. We're all borrowing it one way or another. And we've been borrowing since the boomers. And so instead of like working hard, I know it sounds boring and dry, but having a balanced budget, spending less than you make, that is the ultimate form of responsibility because it makes you work, it makes you support yourself, become a self-supporting unit of society. That's been gone. We don't do that anymore. And a higher and higher percentage of people have been doing that. So that's kind of where the softness comes from, because to be a parent is hard. You have to tell your kid no. You have to discipline them. You have to explain things to them. And we got a little bit of that, like in Gen X and the older generations. And hopefully your parents stayed married and you had a nuclear. And hopefully your dad was a dad. But every generation has been getting weaker and shirking their duties, outsourcing to wherever possible. Now it's very common. You don't raise your kid. You outsource that to daycare or the public schools. Your dad comes home, your mom comes home. They don't sit you down and have a conversation to help you with your homework or, experiment with this newfangled technology called a computer. They sit you down in front of a Nintendo. They give you the gold pass for Xbox Live or whatever it is. And there you go. They don't, your dad, we're so far removed. Even if your dad knew or wanted to tell you about girls, he doesn't know what to tell you about girls because everyone's still getting divorced. Those that do decide to get married still get divorced at the same rate. So you essentially have children leading children. The standards are lowered, and the millennials have their participation trophies and all that. So now it's all life on easy mode afforded to us by money printing or government borrowing. And no one is taking responsibility for themselves. So yeah, now I don't know. Let me ask you this. Have you seen these adult onesies full-grown adults are wearing now in public?
Yeah, in public.
In public. Yeah, I've seen it. Like there was a gal who was like 35, 40 wearing one at the airport the other day.
Like the PJ onesie?
PJs with the big-ass head.
Oh, yeah. They gave me that for Christmas. I was like, I'm not putting that thing on.
Right, because you're sane. These people have never been held to a standard where they now think it's okay to go out in public as an adult and wear this ridiculous outfit. Now, obviously, it's not that common, but that's where we're getting to the point. Obviously, there ain't been no dad involved. No one told them no. No one trained them and said, hey, do you really think this is a good idea to dress up like Kermit the Frog? He had a big Kermit the Frog one, big Kermit head, come over it. And I'm not kidding. I think there was like a pole in the back that acted as the axle, like the spine of the book. So you could just, and like no one, even his friends, he was out with his friends. His friends didn't say, hey, Bob, you look like a douchebag. Don't wear that. We want to meet some girls. You look like a complete moron. But that's what it is no one has taken the time to raise their kids, train their kids, prepare them for the real world, because that's hard. And they think, like the welfare state, they think just throwing money at it is going to solve it. And it doesn't solve it. You got to teach these kids and the young adults skills, etiquette, decorum, and above all else, to base their decisions in reality. And that's just too hard for most people to handle nowadays.
Bars. You're a breath of fresh air, because just the way you speak is banned nowadays. So just hearing you is like, okay, at least. Well,
I hope your channel don't get in trouble, but
Oh, we've said much worse. Last night's episode actually is behind a wall. It's a warning, and you got to pass a quiz to get to it or something like that. Because of YouTube and whatever we said about Ukraine last night. Lauren Elise, thank you very much, dear, and always supporting the channel on Hotep Nation. I was first introduced to Aaron by his ads on the Tom Lakis show. Great to see you're still doing your thing. What is she talking about? Tom Lakis.
You know Tom Lakis?
No.
You never heard of Tom Lakis?
I don't know anything about white people.
He's the guy. Well, he's a white person, so he's there's history. Yeah, you may have seen one or two of us around. No, he was like the largest radio. Imagine who was the big New York radio DJ with the glasses?
Howard Stern.
Howard Stern. He was the West Coast version of him.
Oh, okay.
And his gig is all before internet and all that. His gig was helping young guys getting with the girls. He's like, you don't have to tolerate their crap. Dump that girl. Like, he was the original. He's the old G. He was the one that started all that. Oh, okay. And I don't know anyone alive today in the red pill community I'm part of that was not at least tangentially influenced by him. But he ran ads for my book. The first guy I ever ran ads on the radio was with Tom Lakis. So yeah, he was very kind and gave me a very good deal on the advertising rates.
Okay. Well, there you go. Well, Lauren must have been following you for a while now. Why did you get out of the whole banking and finance thing?
Probably same reason you got out. The housing crisis. Like I tried first book I wrote, which you would probably love because you were there on the front line selling the mortgages. I predicted the housing bubble would happen. I started writing the book in 2006. I think it got published 2007. And then the day later, Lehman Brothers filed for bankruptcy. And I was so ahead of the game, I had to like update the charts as it was happening in real time. It was pretty cool. But yeah, I was trying to stop. There's several bubbles I had tried to stop in my past: the Asia currency crisis, the dot-com bubble, going back to the 90s, and then the education bubble, but that was more political. Then there was the housing crisis. And it was borderline criminal, where the bankers would want me to, like, with underwriting, not to bore people with too much of a financial lesson. When you apply for a loan, you give us your income statements, your tax returns. And we take those tax returns, and there's ratios and statistics. We calculate off of them to see whether or not you could afford the amount of money you'd like to borrow. It's called underwriting. And so what bankers would do is I'd do the underwriting. We'd follow these formulas. I didn't control the formulas. It's just the formulas. It's math. So you could do it now modernly with automated underwriting with software. And so I'd give them the report. They're like, well, this ratio is a little low. Is there a way it can get higher? I'm like, not until he files a new tax return next year and makes more money. No, I can't change that. And they would want me to go back and change the figures. And they're like, oh, you wrote pretty harshly about this guy. I'm like, the guy's got a credit score of 407. Yes, I'm going to be hard on him. He hasn't paid us back the first 3 loans we gave him. And so when I realized that a lot of these bankers are just doing it for commission, and then on top of it, a lot of people don't realize, rarely do the banks actually hold the loans they generate. They usually sell them off on the secondary market. And so what that essentially relegated a lot of the banks back then, anyways, that they were brokers. They were not banks that would hold on to the loan. They would underwrite the loan. They would fund the loan, but then they would sell it immediately on the secondary market, so they had no risk or exposure. And so when you realize that, the whole point of my job as a credit analyst was completely moot. And all it did was just arguments all the time. Like, well, why'd you give him that rating? You get, like A, B, C, D, F, you could rate. I'm like, well, because of this and this. And like, here's empirical numbers why we shouldn't lend to him. And then all getting threatened to get fired, and And well, you didn't value the collateral correctly. I'm like, yeah, I did. It just became too much of a headache and a nightmare. And as many people found out, and history bore out, these people are lying crooks. They're scum. Most bankers are scum, and to a larger extent, most of the finance industry is less moral than you would say the world of IT or medicine. And so I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I went and tried to help a small little community bank out in Wyoming kind of turn their act around, and it was the same thing there. They just still thought the housing bubble was still going on. But I couldn't deal with it anymore, because you're just going in there to argue. And so that's why I dropped out of it. And then, this thing was starting, my books were starting to sell, bandwidth was expanding, so I could go from writing a blog. I started that in like 2004. Also, I was doing podcasting, now more modernly YouTube, but that's how I kind of sustain myself up until now. But just the corruption and ineptitude is why I got out of banking.
But you took a pay cut.
Oh yeah, big pay cut. Yeah.
You didn't mind that?
No, because I always had some kind of side hustle going on. Back when I was like 23 years old, I started teaching ballroom dance classes, because I was actually quite an accomplished swing and salsa dancer.
Okay.
And I did that up until, maybe late 30s or so. So I always had that on the background, and I always worked security as well. Started working security in college, and I started working for a team out of the Twin Cities where, you could pick up a shift here or there, nights and weekends, that kind of thing. And then another thing I'd done, they were just starting to have this, is where you could offer classes online. Now, it was all text-based, graphics, like a blog, no video or audio, because the bandwidth wasn't there. But that was a tertiary form of income that I had. So I never had to take too much guff, like certainly not, commit fraud and lie on financial statements. So I always had something to fall back on. But yeah, I went from, that was probably, making around $100,000 a year in 2011, 2012, down to 30, 35 with security and dance classes. Yeah.
But happier.
Oh, way happier. Yeah. Dancing with good looking girls with nice boobs is a lot more fun than talk to some bald headed boomer gray haired bleep asking if you can lend his buddy, $400,000 more for some pigs that aren't in his stockyard. Yeah. It's a lot more fun.
Because some people think the money is supposed to bring you happiness.
No, money, it's basically kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Yeah. Money can only get you to a certain extent that will allow happiness to grow. and I actually don't believe in happiness. I think you can only be content. But if you're poor,
that's what I've been saying.
Well, yeah, but no one gets. How many people break out of the 2 lower levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Right.
See, like if you are worried about food, clothing, shelter, yeah, money's the number one thing. You don't have time to loftily or luxuriously worry about esoteric things like what is the purpose and meaning in life? What should my legacy to society be? It's like, damn, I wish I found a $20 bill so I could $5 footlongs. Were you happy when $5 footlongs came out?
Yeah.
I was ecstatic. You know why? Because I ate like a king for however long they were coming out. That actually made me happy. So most people never get out of poverty. So they associate the stability that money gets you with happiness. And I'm not saying they can't be a little bit of a form of happiness, but once all of a sudden you're stable, and they estimate it's probably a little bit more now due to inflation, but once you get to 74 grand, probably 80 grand today, as a single individual person, that's pretty much all money can really do to make you content. Because then you're not worrying about anything. You can pretty much afford to eat out 3 meals a night, not luxuriously, but you're not worried about your mortgage. You're not worried about your car. And then when you get to that spot, then it's like, oh crap. Then there's you think poverty was a big monster to wrestle with. Try to get past the poverty line, have a stable income, and you get there. All right, now what? And you're like, oh wow, what do I do in life? Like all your friends are still stuck in poverty or a nagging wife or a family they can barely afford. They're getting fat. They're getting old. No one wants to go out and explore life anymore. And you could go and do those things. You could go for motorcycle rides, hike, go kayak, do whatever. You're going to realize so few people are at that level. It is lonely as hell. And then you start to really appreciate things like family, a loving spouse, children, community. And you're like, oh, I get it now. Because now you ain't worried about, dang, I hope I afford rent. And so I forgot what the original question is.
Me too.
But that something about very deep.
Oh, money making you happy.
Yeah, money. Yeah, it can create the environment wherein you can find other things that really will make you happier in the long term. So maybe you're lucky enough that you really enjoy your career, and that gives you value and purpose in life. And I would say value and purpose is about the closest you're going to get to happiness, which is contentment, because you should aim for contentment, not happiness. Being a father, being a mother, being a husband, being a wife for somebody else. I also say camaraderie. I really missed that back when I was younger in college. The security team was under the U of M police department. And we got our own room and we had roll call and we all had call names and all that. It was really cool, but there was a camaraderie. You belonged to something like a team. And that is really what I think will give you contentment. And once you got your food, clothing, and shelter squared away, you could make another $100,000. A Ferrari ain't going to make you happy. A Rolex watch ain't going to make you happy. But I'll give you a perfect example. You know Fresh and Fit, right?
I was just about to ask you to tell that story.
Because me, Rolo, and Fresh, he picks us up in his Lamborghini. He's driving and we're going on our way to this shoe store. He wants to buy some shoes. And he's talking about like, man, I just like, it's not making me happy anymore buying all this stuff. And me and Rolo are old as shit. So we're like, well, yeah, you dumbass. That's not what makes you happy. Like, okay, you've satiated your curiosity. Okay, you've scratched that itch. You got your bling. You got your ridiculous $25,000 shirt or whatever he's wearing there. All right, you got your Lamborghini, and that's all good. But yeah, you're right. And then on the way to the studio, one cool thing happened on the way to the studio, and then at the studio itself. So then his aunt calls, and she's calling. I think it's from Trinidad. And he's like, oh, hi, auntie, da-da-da-da-da. We're making fun of each other. I'm with my white friends. And she could hear her laugh, and he's laughing. He had a good time. He was smiling because his aunt called. Then we went later on that night. I think it was that night. Maybe it was the night after. It was him, me, Myron, Rolo, Donovan, and Sotomayor were there. And I think we talked maybe 5-10% about the topic we're supposed to. The remaining 90% was us just viciously ripping each other apart with jokes and slams and everything. We're laughing our asses off. That was funny.
Yeah.
That was fun. That was contentment. That was purpose and meaning. Yeah. And you know what? It didn't cost us a damn cent. Because I mean, I'll remember, I don't know if you saw it, but I didn't know that Walter had a stutter.
Yeah.
Okay. So he
tries to talk too fast.
Well, I don't catch it. Anyway, so Donovan's like, everyone gives Fresh a lot of guff. They say he doesn't contribute much to it. Well, I just got to say, he's a fucker who drives a Lamborghini. And we're all just falling over laughing. And it's like, okay, you know what? That didn't cost a penny. That was great. That was great. And so if you watch it, as a guy, it's just it was like one of those celebrity roasts. Remember like Dean Martin and all that, and they pick apart each other.
Yeah.
It was like that. That's about the best you could get. When you get your buddies picking on your dick size or accusing, questioning your masculinity, it's about as good as it's going to get, So, and that's what contentment, pushing happiness will get you. But once you pass that 75, 80 grand mark, it's just things at that point, things you don't need.
Yeah, I argue with my co-host Wendy, and I say men don't have time for happiness. That's something that women get to enjoy, and even it's fleeting for women. Got a couple of things before we talk about chicks. Like you said, I was in the mortgage industry, but you were an underwriter, right? Like I was the guy preparing the documents for the underwriter to check out. Man, that's wild. You got to sit at the side because when I called, at this point in my life, I was on my third bank. And now I'm assistant branch manager, right? Practically branch manager. And I call to get a loan approved, pre-qual. And he like, nah. And I call another one like, nah. And I called this dude, Lee Duncan at Delta. And he was like, it's over.
It's over, yeah.
And I was like, what is he talking about? It was so cryptic, right? But to this day, it haunts me because I was young and naive. I didn't see what you saw. I didn't know what he meant by that.
Right. Well, but your background was IT, wasn't it? Like
my background was IT.
Right. See, I saw it. I was in the bowels of the Titanic. I saw that iceberg ripping it apart.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, we got to abandon ship. Oh, don't tell rich people to abandon ship. Don't you know your position in life, son? That kind of thing. But what the oh shit moment was, because I was like, this can't be going on. I had this one banker. I can mention his first name, Mark. And Mark, I hope somebody ran off with your wife because she's way too hot for you. But he would always hound me about this guy, just like wasn't making any money in any of his businesses. Like, you don't really understand. These are non-cash expenses, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, they are cash expenses. I got the cash flow statement right here. So he'd keep hounding me and hounding me and hounding me. And I'm like, I can't underwrite this loan until I get his latest year of tax returns, which I told you 3 times before. So he came down like a 4th or 5th time. And I'm just like, oh, here he comes again. And it's like, whatever, the Johnson file you're working on. I'm like, yeah, you could stop working on it now. I'm like, oh, really? Why is that? It's like, well, the FBI wants his files. I'm like, oh, is the FBI here? Really? And so I was like, finally, the feds, it's like, just finally, here comes, it's like when Powell in Die Hard, finally, Bruce Willis had to throw a body out of the window to land on Powell's car to wake him up. It's like he finally got him to realize something wrong. And then the whole thing came crashing down after that. But yeah, it was like that. I got to throw a dead body on your cop car to get you to realize something's not right.
That dead body was me still trying to close a loan and wondering why I couldn't. I'm like, why can't I close? 30 days go by without a paycheck. That's crazy for a mortgage broker.
Yeah.
And that was it. I had to rearrange my entire life.
Yeah, they all did. Yeah.
Imagine spending 8 years of your life in this career thinking the money's just going to always rain down.
It never, dude, I don't think I think this internet thing's gonna I'm saving all my money. I buy 1 or 2 nicer things. That's about it. But I am like, nah, I'll get Me Too'd. I'll get doxxed. Something's going to happen. And I'm going to have that nice little way. I'm going to go yeet off to some place in Thailand. You'll never see me again. Building my little escape raft. That's all I'm doing.
Your Me Too fund, right?
Yeah, it is. Because what we did back in our day when we were teens and 20s, it wasn't anything illegal or going to land me in jail. But oh yeah, I got stuff like, especially ballroom dancing and alcoholic and all that. Yeah, oh yeah, there's plenty of dirt on me out there. I'm just waiting for it's just not it's not if, but who and when, which one. And so I'm just like, save that money.
All right, let's talk about women being weaponized against men. But before we get into that, tune in and drop out with the big boy super chat. Appreciate you, homie. The 60s did see positive social change, but sex, drugs, and rock and roll failed as social policy. Those in power garnered the dysfunction for profit, and instead, getting honest, they simply doubled down. We are now a society hitting our bottom. Good take there, Mr. Tune In and Drop Out. So, Aaron, what is this concept you have here of women being weaponized against men? Surely women are our greatest asset, no?
No. Would you like to see the balance sheet on that one? Would you like to see? Sorry about that. I wouldn't say that it's not necessarily that they're weaponized. Their stated goal, like a weapon, indicates that they're here to destroy you.
Right.
And that would be what a weapon is. I don't think that they are weaponized. I believe they have been co-opted and politicized by forces, some of which I understand, some of which I don't really like. Okay, I understand the Democrat Party. I understand socialism in general. You're type X person, type Y people are oppressing you. In this case, it's the patriarchy. Okay, so those guys, only the Democrats can help you, and we need to pass laws and things and stuff, and vote for us, by the way, and we'll give you all these benefits and goodies. What I don't understand is necessarily the feminist approach. Well, what were you hoping to get to turn women against men, or to at least not need them? Be somewhat, I always say women are competitors at best, adversaries at worst, but they're certainly not on our team anymore. We're not working together. I didn't understand why feminists in general have turned women against men. There's different theories, like, okay, they're jealous. Maybe they had bad experiences. One theory I've been kind of kicking around is, for most of human existence, women were more or less kept. They did rely on a man. And so it resulted in this kind of quasi-captive light kind of thing. And maybe they, at a visceral genetic level, always resented that about men. But I don't know. But they're definitely no longer on our team, for whatever the origins or why. But they really do. And the younger you get, the worse it is. Some really do hate men, and they really don't like men, and they think that men who were just born 20 years ago and can't even pronounce patriarchy. I mean, they just got their pubes installed in them 2 weeks before that. Now the women, that they're trying to hate them, and the kid hasn't done anything.
Yeah.
And then there are some gals who like, look, I'm the boss bitch. I'm gonna compete and da da da. It's like, could you all just be nice, maybe, and make me like think about this. Can you make me a sandwich? Really? All my, I was like, no, really, think about this. Could you just make a meal for the guy? Yeah. And we've gotten it to the point where that is a degrading act, I would say, for the majority of women.
Yeah.
That's taboo. It's like, what? Treating a guy nice is taboo?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah. So I understand the financial, political reasons why certain political parties would want to, with identity politics, get women on their side. I do not understand why, beyond politics, there also seems to be a psychological, emotional, genuine, visceral antagonism towards men. But I don't know necessarily that they're being weaponized, where it's like, oh, we got to kill and destroy men. I think men are maybe being used as a scapegoat or the boogeyman. But I don't understand why they would do it. And so that's why I kind of wrestle with my current line of philosophical thought.
No, I totally agree. When I think about women, I think of them in their most humanistic state as being very powerful entities, right? And the fact that they would have the job of sustenance seems like a very important job, right? Making a sandwich, that's a very important job.
Oh, your health, your food? That's what keeps you, yeah, I'd say so, sure, yeah.
So then recently we had the whole Ukraine situation pop off, right? And now women are online making jokes like, well, if World War III pops off and they start posting these memes of like women from the 60s and 50s in the kitchen with the apron on, and so they know, yeah, their rightful place in society, but they don't want to.
Do you think they really do? Do you? I would say there might be some instinctual awareness, but I'm wondering how many of them, like, they would have a very visceral reaction as to that. But I'm sorry to interrupt,
Well, no,
but I kind of wonder.
What do you mean they would have some visceral reaction to that?
Well, I wonder how many, see, there's what your instinct might tell you, but then there's what your frontal cortex, like, for example, eating, okay? Your instinct tells you to eat all the time. What your frontal cortex is like, whoa, it's not 1812 anymore. It's 2022. We got food all over the place. You ought to reel in your intake. And so I'm wondering, when it comes to gals, especially how they've been brought up, there might be some remnant instinct to like, oh yeah, I should, maybe it would be nice to dote on a man. Maybe it would be nice to rub his feet or something like that. But I think that's very buried, very far back in the lizard brain, way back. It's not gone, but it's way back there. And it is smothered. Because here's another thing. Don't forget about neuroplasticity and how the brain can evolve. If that's the steady diet you've been fed since you were 5 years old, that boys are icky and they're oppressing you and you know, they're playing with their trucks and oh, how patriarchal. that instinctual voice may not even ever make it to the frontal lobes and be a conscious, crystallized, sentient thought. And so I think maybe there's like, they can understand the concept, but I think you got a gal who's 30 years old. That's 3 decades of one type of steady psychological diet. And I don't know, I think it may be genuine. The other, and I hate to sound so theoretical, but I've always said this. It kind of doesn't matter whether women like guys or not. It's like, what are the actions they put forth into the real world? Because like me in Modern Life, John, I disagree with him a little bit, but I could be swayed either way until I see more empirical evidence. He swears these girls are crying themselves to sleep every night. Why can't I? They go off, boss bitch shields up. Look at me, and I got my thing, my stuff, me, my girlfriends, and all that other crap. And then that same night, after rejecting 20 Prince Charmings, they can. I'm like, I don't think so. I'm starting to think they maybe don't. But the larger point that I was trying to make is it doesn't matter if deep down inside these girls want a guy. What actions are they putting forth into the real world? Because that's the only thing we can go on.
Yeah.
And you could try and call their bluff maybe and like, look, deep down inside, I know you're crying and blah, blah, blah. But I'm leaning more towards my argument aside. I think it's real and sincere, or at least it's the whatever original intention girls biologically might have had. It has been cemented over, like the Atari 2600 games, ET out in Alamogordo, New Mexico. It is cemented and ain't ever coming up. And the effective behavior you get to deal with in reality is that they do find that degrading. I mean, maybe every once in a while you will find a traditional girl, like I got a traditional girl. Yeah, they're out there, but I think the majority of Western women would find that degrading. Like, hey, why don't you just make your guy a nice meal? I think if you polled, at least the polls certainly would be, and I would think it would be for the most part an authentic opinion on their part. They wouldn't be covering up like, oh yeah, I really do, but I have to obey the feminist beehive and say I don't find it acceptable. So I could be wrong though.
Is that your counter to them going home and crying every night? Like,
yeah.
If they're not crying, what are they doing? I
think they're just, I don't know, on social media, getting attention from guys, getting attention from girls. I think they drink that we do know they are drinking. Alcohol consumption is up more in women. I'm not saying there isn't a psychological effect to it. Women are more depressed, more antidepressant use and all that. Yeah. But I don't think they're crying themselves to sleep that much. And I know it's very unscientific. I have talked to several female friends because I got to get these questions answered, because now I have a lot more female clients coming in for some odd reason. I said, do you cry yourselves to sleep? I mean, not maybe you, but do you know your girlfriends are like, no, we really don't. And I got to take that as empirical data. And I trust these girls. Of course, maybe they could be lying, or maybe their girlfriends are lying to them. But I have not seen the empirical evidence to suggest that women are crying themselves to sleep. I think this is real. This is legit. I would also argue from an academic or theoretical, it doesn't matter because this is the foot they're putting forward in public, and that's all you can react to.
What are you mentioned, like you can go by what they're saying, but their actions. What are the actions that you're seeing that they're putting forth?
Perfect example. They're fat. The number one thing a guy wants is to bang you. All right. Yeah. That's the number one. Now we want a lot of other things if it comes to equality in women, but let's just start with that, because if you don't have physical attraction, you ain't got nothing. You're just friends at best.
Right.
All right. So girls, that action putting forward where 70% of them are overweight, well, that kind of right off the bat, I don't care if you deep down inside really want a guy more than you want a ho-ho. You obviously chose the ho-ho instead of the treadmill. And now the effective reality I got to deal with is got this fat bitch that I don't want to date. So that's one, thing to do.
Yeah.
Another one would be, I think a lot of gals, you got a choice. Girls do have a choice. I don't want to say it's a popularity thing, but you want to signal to other women like you're down with the cause, like, yeah, I'm a feminist, I don't need no man, I'm this budget, like that snarky attitude where it's like, okay, you don't really say you hate men, but man, that is behavior that is very unbecoming of a woman. That is not feminine. Tattoos, a piercing through one nostril out the other, through your ear, I don't know, you The Rock got less tattoos than you do, and at least he has the decency to have them on his arm. You got them on your neck, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
There is no consideration, very little consideration given by the vast majority of women as to what men want. And so that would be a very effective. I mean, how many other ways they major in dumb stuff? They come into you with a ton of student loan debt. They come in with a ton of commercial debt. There is no effective decision. I should say no. For the majority of them, there's no effective decisions they are making that is indicative that they, one, want to get married, two, want a man and a wife, three, going to treat that guy nice and actually care about him. And so, and even then, the girls that do keep themselves in shape, it's sadly almost like, okay, well, are you doing that because you really like a guy, or is it going to be more transactional? Which, of course, Rollo Tomasi has the expert opinion on that. And so that's kind of what I look at, where I say, okay, your effective behavior is telling men you don't want to get married or be certainly what they want. And after a while, it's going to be my generation now, it's over. It's Gen X spinster land. All right. So that first trial, that first generation, they did that, and now it's over. So now ask yourself, for all the Gen X guys, like, well, did girls ever really like you? Effectively, no. They could have all been crying themselves to sleep and we didn't know it, but they read too much Teen Vogue or Teen Cosmo back in the 80s and watched too much, I don't know, Milli Vanilli or what's the Vanilla Ice. And they really wanted us all this time. Well, too late. They're 50. No, it's over. And so I got that, it's an economic philosophy. It's like, I can't guess your political motives. I can't guess your psychological motives. What did you do? You did X. I got to respond to that no matter what you may believe deep down inside. So that's kind of, the examples of where their behavior is all that ultimately really matters in the end.
How did it get this way? I want to put the blame on two entities and tell me if I'm right or wrong.
Okay.
Advertising and marketing and Hollywood.
You're not wrong. I'd throw those in the same.
Okay.
Media in general, but don't forget the welfare state. Welfare state's the number one thing, where you literally replace men with government check. You literally did that. We could also argue divorce law that kind of scared away men. But I would say the welfare state, which effectively supplanted and replaced men. And then a close second would be media, Hollywood, and that includes news media. I would also throw in that education, any kind of data or information that you were given and told what to do by society in general, whether it came from the television or your teacher. I think that would be a very close second.
Yeah, I guess there's that psychological aspect of, I guess, warping a woman's role in the species. Yeah, I guess that would be super important as well. I'm trying to
one thing what's helped me understand what we're all trying to do here is, and it kind of makes more sense. Maybe it's too simplified, but I really like it as a way to understand this. Imagine it's just a factory of people, and that's all we are. We're just making a factory of people, but they're like computers. They need an operating system. Right. The operating system we're putting on young men and women today, and going back certainly to my generation, has been one that does not work in reality. But nonetheless, it is their operating system. And so that's where we get a lot of people, unplugged from the matrix. Well, it's like, okay, install a new operating system. Well, you got to take off the old operating system. You got to put the new operating system on. But, you know, a lot of people don't want a new operating system because the operating system they have is circular. It's totally insular, where they have every possible reason and rationale and explanation as to why things aren't working in the real world. So again, we get back to why can't I find a man? You're fat. That's just a social construct. Look, lady, do you want the guy or not? No, they're it's almost like an autoimmune deficiency. Like it'll attack the T cells that are trying to help you and introduce any kind of reality. No, it's this impervious pissing against a hurricane. But that shows you the importance of all media, all information. Again, whether it's your teachers, your parents, or television, that gives you this impervious operating system, and certainly explains is one of the second reason I'd say why girls are very lukewarm towards men.
White girls,
yeah.
You said white girls?
No.
Oh, I thought you said white girls are lukewarm towards men.
Make all girls, or I'd say
wild
girls are I meant no, they're all girls. They're all girls. I'm sorry. Yeah,
white girls. I was about to say we getting racial here. I love it.
No. This is one thing. All the colors of the rainbow got this operating system. All of them. Some might be a mint variety, cinnamon from the Ubuntu Linux variety, but it's all Linux. Don't worry.
Dax Hill, editor for menoforder.com, writes, they are crying themselves to sleep. Metaphor. They have to be in these streets to see it. They have jobs, money, independence, but losing versus biology, famine, children. It's a deep sadness, sad to see. Thank you, Dax, for contributing today. Appreciate you, homie. What's your take on female promiscuity?
I think it's nature. Yeah, I mean, it's a byproduct of the environment. I think it's hardwired. I think it is what it is. And here we're hypergamy and our Danish friend Rollo, I think he has it nailed. Like they're going to want the best they can get. And they've always wanted that. It's the environment that's changed where, okay, we replaced men. Now you got a government check. Women don't have to rely on men. So you can wait. I think also being a single mom, the shame that's come with that has been whittled away. So you don't have to worry about that. And then also more modernly for younger people, the internet has definitely increased their hypergamy, or they're like, oh, I can always get better because there's always some really better looking guy dangling in front of them on the internet, like, a carrot on a stick. So that has certainly warped it as well. And I think, yeah, so all it is your, if hypergamy was a plant and it had the qualities and traits of, say, a citrus tree, right? What the olden days would be is like you're trying to grow the citrus in an Arctic condition or a wintry condition in Minnesota. Are there places maybe it gets enough sun with the right thing to grow? Right, in a very controlled, specific environment. Well, if you bring that tree down to the tropics, that plant, that seed has found really fertile soil and really good. I mean, it's the ideal situation for it to grow. And that's what's happened. The environment has changed where it's like hypergamy now has the perfect conditions, soil, pH, sun, water, everything is just sprouting like a tree. I don't think there's anything to stop it, but it was the same genetic code in that seed, whether you're planting in Minnesota over on the equator.
I spoke to Six Goddess on Instagram. A very powerful Black female influencer. And I asked her that question. I said, why is it that women lack the capability to be loyal in these days? And she was like, you ready? Like, yeah. She's like, we got to say a prayer first. So we said a prayer first.
Okay.
Right. And then she said, because they can.
Right.
I was like, oh, damn. Because we let him get away with it.
Right. There's no consequences.
There's no consequences.
No consequences. Right.
Yeah. Back in the day, they had consequences.
Yeah, but now, like, you don't even get shamed. I mean, beforehand, you'd be ostracized from the village, and there wasn't no EBT or women, infants, and children program to take care of you. But now they're not only is that bad, but of course now it's celebrated. Or at least certain segments celebrate. Like, you're single mom, you're powerful, you're brave, go queen, whatever. You deserve it all. Like, absolutely not a single cost or consequences attached to these bad decisions. and worse, it's celebrated. So now it's almost completely, someone calls it an unregulated environment. Like the throttle, the governor's gone off the throttle. They're going to go, and you will see just how far they can go. And the answer, I know he didn't maybe quote it, but Ryan Stone frequently quotes it. But do you know what women want? More. It's a brilliant. What do women want? More. What do you do? The answer is always more. Always more. And I think you're going to see it. That horse is out of the gate. You're going to see how fast that thing is going to hit warp speed pretty soon, because there's nothing stopping it.
God damn. I hate this time period. It's just terrible. David Ease, he said, thank you, bro. He said, hey, Aaron, what inspired you to write The Black Man's Guide Out of Poverty despite not being in the demographic? Because he's grifting. It's like, nah.
I'm not well, of course I did want to make money. Of course, I didn't write it for that. No, the main reason is Asshole Consulting had a ton quite early on of young black men coming up with essentially the same problem. Variables might have changed a little bit, but brought up poor, single mom, dad not around, mom threatening to kick him out of the house if he leaves because she'll get less Section 8 housing or whatever else. He wants to go into the military, into college, blah, blah, blah. Young black man comes back from going to college, military. Family says, you think you're better than us. Get out of here. You ain't da, da, da. And so I was just like, and what usually ends up happening, if I get like 5 or 6 of the same requests just from different people, that usually means other people got that issue or that problem. And so what I did, I said, okay, usually that's worth a book or a class or something else. So I just banged out that book. So I consulted a bunch of my black friends and all that, because obviously I'm not black. And the advice is generally the same because the cause of poverty is all the same. But the black community has a unique position that's in, especially in America, with the politics of the politicization. So that required a little bit of tailoring to the culture, the politics, and underlying what causes black poverty. But yeah, it was just like I had enough guys reaching out where I'm like, okay, well, if I write this book, then usually I'll answer everyone who has this question, and they don't have to pay $35 a shot coming up to me. They just go get the book for like, $11.95, and I make some dough along the way too.
So when somebody hires you as a consultant, what kind of services are they expecting?
It ranges, but usually in general, it's life improvement. I've had things like classical business consulting. Like, I got this problem with my business, help me out. Sometimes it's taxes or finance or investing, but usually it's, you're older than me. Everyone's been lying to me, or what I've been trying hasn't been working. What do you recommend I do? And this goes right back into that lies. And there's so much money to be made in telling the truth, because ain't nothing but anybody producing lies. So I majored in philosophy. I realized it's stupid. What should I do? And I say, okay, well, here's another example where, a lot of people had questions about degree. Well, okay, here's a book called Worthless. What should you major in? I want to find a girl. What do I do? And which that question I won't answer anymore because it's been answered a million times. All right, you got to hit the gym, this and that, and that. Sometimes career, I'm in this situation. I got a job offer, or this isn't going well. Should I go and drop out and go work security and teach ballroom dance classes? To which the answer is always yes. It's fun times, good times. But yeah, it really depends. But generally, it's disproportionately men, usually self-improvement in terms of finances, education, which also then ultimately answers to finances. Women, and then a lot of psychological ones where they're coming from bad times, or the depression, of which I can only help so much, but invariably it's like, yeah, you got to talk to a therapist about that or something. But basically whatever you pay, like if I can answer it, I'll do it. One guy paid me $120 to talk about what it'd be like to float on a big red parade balloon. Like, okay, I'm $20 is $20, man. I mean, it's not been easy. That paid for my cell phone bill and my heat bill, my electric bill, my internet bill. But yeah, I'll talk about a red balloon for 20 minutes. Sure, why the hell not? Okay.
Right. Where do people purchase these services? They go to your website?
Yeah, they go to assholeconsulting.com.
Right.
And the website, it tells you what to do while yelling and cursing and swearing at you what not to do. You ever see the Soup Nazi episode of Seinfeld?
No.
Okay, you never saw the Soup Nazi episode?
No, I only watch black shows. I'm a black.
Kidding.
When I was young, I was an extreme black nationalist. I didn't watch anything with white people in it.
Only the Jeffersons, only the Cosby Show. You never watched A-Team?
A-Team a little bit because it had
just
Mr.
because
T
it had
in it.
B.A. Baracus in it. All right, okay, all right. Anyway, they go to the site, and with the soup Nazi he had the best soup in all of New York, but you had to do exactly as he said. If not, he'd ban you forever.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how you do it. So please follow the instructions on the website. But it literally says, don't be a fucking idiot and write your life story. Don't be a fucking moron, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but the instructions are you just fill in your question, and then I give you a quote, depending how long it is or how complex it might be. And then you pay me the money, then I answer your question.
Interesting. Yeah. Shout out to the Haram Life. He said, powerful Fridays. Yes, you know how we get down on Fridays. Welcome, bro. You have one wish. Could be anything in the world, right? You ever watch Dragon Ball Z?
Yeah. Wait, you're not gonna go watch white shows, but you're gonna go watch Dragon Ball Z?
They Japanese, man. I got no Japanese never called me the N-word.
Dragon Ball, they never get to the point. I'm gonna kick your ass. Ha! No, you won't, because I'm gonna kick your ass. How many years of that did you have to watch to realize there was a formula?
Only 25.
Oh God. Okay, go ahead. We make your point about Dragon Ball Z. Yes.
So, me and the Hoteps, we have gathered all 7 Dragon Balls, and we are about to bring them to you. We have unleashed the dragon of Shinra, or whatever his name is. He comes out, and he says, "Aaron Clarey, what is it that you wish for?" And we say, we're going to give our wish to Aaron Clarey. If there's anything in the world, after we collected all 7 Dragon Balls that you could wish for, what would you wish for?
I want a total knowledge of the universe. Absolutely. I want to know I want to know everything, like from 0 to now. I want to know everything that happened in the universe. I want to know every human's experience. I want to know like what Hitler was thinking about when he's taking a shit on the toilet. I want to know what Genghis Khan was like. Damn, I gotta have sex with another girl. Oh. I want to know what was happening on the other. I want to know when a black hole formed. I want to know other creatures, other sentient entities. I want to know everything that absolutely happened. Total knowledge of the universe, because then it would make sense. Then I'd be like, oh, I get it. Why women are fat now. Oh, it makes total sense though, because over there a black hole happened in the Andromeda galaxy, which chain reaction this event, and that gave this girl this idea to write the feminine mystique. I see, makes sense now. Yeah, I think it's just one big puzzle. And I like to understand it.
Yeah,
that's all I like, and that's all there is. There's only history. I don't know if I'd be fed, but I'd have that burden put on myself. Like if I could feed and support myself then, but to have total knowledge.
Yeah.
And then like to be able to play that through my head and my mind, like, oh, let's watch this movie. Like, oh, what did Alexander the Great do? Oh boy, he pissed off Darius. Look at that. Oh, he must have been upset when he came by. Who were the Hittites? Very little known about the Hittites.
Yeah.
We don't know much about the Hittites. Had a war with Egypt, and that was about it. Then you didn't hear from them again. Well, what happened? You know, there's a lot of that. I would just love to know that. That'd be, because then I could be entertained forever. Just be entertained forever.
That's interesting. I never thought about that. Omniscience.
But a very close second would be Eva Mendes. I just to be a really good Eva Mendes.
Who is that?
You don't know? Oh, that's right. She ain't black, so you probably are unaware. No, she's a Latina. Eva Mendes? Take a look at her.
Oh, Eva Mendes.
Is it Eva or Ava? I thought it was Ava.
It's Eva.
Eva?
EVA, right?
Yeah, EVA.
I
don't know. I wouldn't ask her how she pronounces her name. I'd be up to other things. I wouldn't be talking about vocabulary with her.
Oh yeah, she's a baddie. I've loved her for a while now. Yeah, she's a baddie. Classic baddie. She's a little old now though.
I don't care. When something younger comes along, maybe all of it. Yeah, that Eva Mendes, that's perfectly fine. I'll lower my standards. That's fine.
That's like me and Stacey Dash.
Stacey Dash, who's that? Let me take a look.
See, you don't even know the baddest
black
woman
I don't pay attention. Is she black?
Is she black, damn it?
Is she black?
Yeah.
Well, I don't pay attention to black girls. Hang on, let's take a look at Stacey Dash. Let's see. Stacey Dash.
Take a look at that fine specimen of
Oh, whoa. Blue eyes. Look at that.
Yeah.
Ooh. Oh, wait, she's half white.
I believe she is mixed, yes.
Yeah,
she's
somebody got in there. Whoa, yeah.
Yeah.
Woo, not bad.
Yeah. That's my boo. I actually had a chance to kick it with her one time, and we took a picture together, and we look absolutely great together, by the way. She a little old now, though.
Is she tall? She looks tall.
Nah, she's not tall. Nah, she's
just
probably
in
like
shape.
yeah, she's probably like 5'6", something like that. A little bit on the bitchy side of things. Couple of failed marriages. Probably definitely a little insecure.
We ain't marrying them, like they're not showing up at our doorstep tomorrow or anything. We got to figure out, like, oh, do I put a ring on it? Like, it'd just be like, oh, dang, Ava Mendes is at my door.
She ain't thinking about anything further than that.
Yeah. But see, I would know why she's at my door because I'd have total knowledge of the universe. I'm like, I know exactly why you're here. What strange circumstances brought you here? And I know I'm not getting laid tonight because, well, you're Ava Mendes.
But you know everything, so you'd know how to get laid.
Would I, though? I'd only know what happened in the past. I wouldn't be able to have an effect or predict the future.
You're a smart guy. I think you'd be able to put the facts together to lead
like
her.
Groundhog Day, like I led enough time. I thought you didn't watch white people shows.
Well, Groundhog Day is a classic.
Oh, okay, all right. That's
movies. There's a bunch of movies with white folks in them. I've definitely had to appreciate it. It's mostly the sitcoms that I was just like, this is just too Caucasian for me.
Mm-hmm.
But the movies,
yeah, because Fresh Prince from Bel Air, that wasn't Caucasian at all. That was totally down in the hood, man. Yeah,
it was the Black Republican experience.
Carlton, Carlton.
Should men get married?
No, not in the U.S. No, absolutely not. No. I believe in the general concept of marriage. Like, if you want to be committed to each other in the eyes of God or religion or whatever it is, like you wish to form a relationship, fine. But this is purely from a government standpoint. No, you do not sign that contract. You do not bring the government into it at all. Not modern day marriage in the West. Whether that is what's it called, common law marriage or what? No, do not do it. No, and it's not a love. It's not a philosophy. It's just a legal thing. There's just too high of a risk. Just way too high of a risk for a guy to get married. And I guess rich girls too, if you got a lot of money. But it just, there's no reason to bring the government into what is a private affair.
What's at risk?
Well, divorce. I mean, you get divorced. There's that one. There's also the risk you're not going to be happy. None of these negate, like, yes, if you find the right perfect girl, and which you generally won't. That's why everyone keeps getting married, and there's like still 50% rate. But yeah, the risk is you losing your finances, losing your children, the depression that comes with it, the higher risk for suicide. No, just no, just not happening. I mean, you can. I'm a libertarian. You do whatever you want. You want to do heroin, I'm all for you, man. But generally, it's not a good idea, statistically speaking.
What if you get a prenup? Get your contract straightened out properly.
That would eliminate one risk.
Okay.
Not totally. A lot of those get thrown out, of course. Depends on the state. Got to talk to a lawyer, blah, blah, blah. I think a much better way to mitigate that risk is to put your assets into trust before you even do anything about getting married or something like that. But that only eliminates one risk. The biggest risk, I say, with marriage is happiness. Quote, happiness, contentment. That's why I define as a successful marriage. Because divorce is only one thing. It's when you're stuck in a marriage too that you're not really happy with or miserable in. And that's, I did the numbers, but it's only something like 16% of the marriages are happy. So it's a very small percentage that stay married and are happy on top of it.
Right.
So that's what 1 in 8, 1 in 7 about. And that says nothing about the legal or financial risks or losing your children. Or the psychological toll that you're going to pay. But that would be the ultimate risk. It's just, it's not, I'm trying to think what has a 1 in 8 chance of winning. Like, I don't know, like you're at a horse race. You race about what, 8 horses? Is that about right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you bet on a horse. Well, there's only one that's going to win. And this isn't like, oh, I got 8 pairs of shoes to choose from. I chose these pair of shoes. Oh, I don't really like these shoes. Oh, dang, you got to run. No, you just wasted 3 decades of your life and destroyed yourself, or maybe all your life with this gal who makes you miserable and doesn't shut up and doesn't make food for you because it's beneath her. So yeah, that the odds aren't good, and the consequences are severe.
Right.
You know, you order the wrong type of pizza, but you marry the wrong woman, you wasted your one precious shot of life on this planet. So very serious.
I mean, you could just disappear. Oh, what was I gonna say? Oh, women are often pressured by friends and family to get married.
Are they?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe in general they are, like your parents, maybe, oh, you should get married, and that might be a holdover, like, oh, when you're gonna put a ring on it.
Yeah.
Maybe that I think that's more of a holdover of tradition.
Right.
There might be some intelligence behind it where it's like, oh, I might benefit from this. And it also would, I guarantee this, it also depends on the age of girls you're looking at. But I'm pretty convinced, based on younger guys I talk to, data that I've collected, younger girls are not all that interested in getting married. Certainly, if you take a look at polls, again, what they put out in the real world, maybe they are crying themselves to sleep, but we can't deal with that. But if you look at polling data of women, I believe it's the 18 to 34 demographic, marriage is something like 5th or 6th. It's not even in the top 3. That has been replaced with their career, finances, and then I think life experiences or something like that. Maybe I'd have to, and it depends on the poll you look at. But certainly for younger women, that's not the case. Now, maybe within their family and social circles, they might be pressured, but that is not translating into affecting their priority list.
That's because they got social media. Social media gives them a million options.
Right. Well, then again, we go back to that K through college environment they grew up in. All the information they get, they don't need a man. Men are your enemy. I mean, I could totally understand why women, 1, they don't need to get married. 2, they don't want to get married. And then pretty much every girl under 40 by now has been told that the number one thing you should do is your career. So I maybe family and friends are telling them to get married. But the rest of the world, starting from Sex in the City to whatever slop is on television now, that's definitely telling women not to get married. So I think overall the societal voice is telling women they don't need to get married and they don't need men.
I would have to concur, sir. Martian X Manhunter said, what do you think men in the West, more specifically men in the Black community, need to do to make women want to be women again and more feminine?
It doesn't matter Black community or not. I mean, it'd just be men in general. There's nothing you can do. The only thing within your power, and if we're going to take a very stoic approach, the first thing is assess what you do and do not control. You control yourself. All right. So the only real thing you could do, it's at the last chapter of Rich Cooper's book, Unplugged Alpha. It's in the last chapter of my book, where here are the things, and mine's more mathematically, like statistically, here's what you do. You work out and be good looking, be tall, have a good job, make a lot of money, or make it seem like you do. And then the number one thing, well, it's just true. The number one thing, at least based on my numbers, is approach a lot of girls. It's a sales game. You got to ask a lot of girls out. That and that's under your control.
Right.
But that takes a lot of effort. There's no guarantee. The numbers do add up to give you a pretty good shot, at least based on numbers I ran. But for men as a whole, Black or white, doesn't matter. There are so many other things out of your control. What drove women to men is that they needed you in the past. They needed protection. What was it? Provisioning and
protection, provisioning, and something else. The 3 Ps from Roller, right?
Roller, yeah. So they needed you. They don't need you anymore. So now they could get what they want. And what do they want?
Everything.
They want more. They want more. And so I don't think there's only what you could control, and then you cast it out to fate, and it's up to the external environment. It's up to the fates beyond that. But there's nothing, as a society, we could all start voting in to eliminate the welfare state. All right. And stop subsidizing what I would call, what would I call it? Welfare jobs programs for everyone in general, but for women, like, okay, social workers, no, you're out of here. Pre-K, no, you're out of here. Jobs where you're not doing anything, where obviously we created entire industries, I'd say, so that you'd have a job. It could imagine your early childhood development education degree is worth poop.
Yeah.
You eliminate that.
Racial diversity training in corporations is
Diversity
now
inclusion.
Yeah.
Diversity inclusion.
I
That you
hate
get
that
a degree
shit.
in that. Yeah, yeah. But you basically make it so that they have one or two choices. They actually go produce something of value. They become an engineer, they become an accountant, they become a doctor or something. Or they find someone to take care of them. That could be their parents. They could form sisterhoods, live really cheaply. Or they find a guy and the guy takes care of them. All right. I think men would be okay reverting to that traditionalism. But until you get rid of the welfare state, until you get rid of this kind of welfare jobs program, which includes academia, like you're stuck in academia for 8 years, getting a master's degree or a doctorate, you're not working, you're just avoiding real work. So until you get rid of that support system where women are forced to either support themselves, which I'm all for, or form a family, you don't have to have a family. You just be a doting housewife. Then women have no need for you until that happens. And so that what would happen to be on a nationwide or cultural level. Also, it would really help if you stop demonizing men and claiming that we're evil incarnate and we're part of it. Did you go to your patriarchy meeting last week? I missed mine. Did you go to yours? I missed my quota of oppressing women. I only got 5 women oppressed last week. I know you got to do 1 a day. Knock off the lies that men are oppressing women, that we're bad people, that we're all out to jump a corner. Just knock it off with that.
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm not saying you got to sing our praises, but stop villainizing us as the cause of all women's problems.
Yeah.
And so those two things would culturally bring women and men back together again. But that's not happening. That's just not going to happen. So it's up to you. Be tall, be good looking, go to the gym, dress nice, either have or act like you have money. And what was the other one? I forgot.
Workout.
We got that.
Numbers game.
Ask out a lot of girls.
Yeah.
And that is the best thing you can do within your power today.
Yeah, that used to be my power. At least in the club setting, I would just I would say, all right, let me just get 10. If I got 10, I'm sure I get 1 out of 10.
Yep. those are about the numbers, not too far off from it. Yep.
Yeah. And I would start with the fat girl first to build my confidence. So I'd actually end up with 2. I'd get the fat girl's number, and then I'd try to step it up from there. Work like a charm. Cannon Hotep, salute. 3 fire emojis. Appreciate you, homie. Shout out to Cannon. He's on timeout on YouTube. YouTube has put him in timeout. So free Cannon Hotep. You don't believe in college, huh?
No, I believe for the right degree, I do.
Right. STEM, law.
STEM, accounting, what else? Medical, dental, someone with a job at the end of it. Yeah. I mean, I can't go through them all, but not philosophy, not, if you could have studied for it for free at the library and still have the same job prospects, don't major in it. If you graduate the degree and you're still working a job you could have done in high school, you got the wrong degree. Right. So I'm not against college, but I'd say only 1 in 8 degrees are worth a damn.
So you'd probably advocate for somebody checking out blue collar work?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Because less training time, much more in demand in the future, I think, because we're just not. And then also, depending on what you pick, if you pick any trade, you're going to save a lot of money in your own life because, okay, let's say you're a mechanic. Well, you can fix your own car. You're a carpenter. Well, you could fix up your house, maybe even build your own house. You're an electrician, a plumber. Then there's also the opportunity for side work and a side hustle and diversifying your income and not relying on a boss. So I would almost, depending on the trade versus the degree, I'd say the trades, especially now, have the edge over the degree. I mean, even truck driving right now for 3 to 6 weeks, you go take a school, you could be a truck driver.
Right.
So that's I'm very pro trades in that regard.
My friend hit me up. He said, yo, I never realized the power of certifications. So he spent I think the past 6 months getting certified in project management. And if he takes on 2 clients, he's slated to make $170K a year. This is somebody that's used to being a manager at Fridays.
Right. Right. Or do you know Seth Himes?
Nah.
You might want to meet up with him. I think your audiences would certainly benefit from one another.
Okay.
He runs a site called indemandcareers.com. And all he does is teach digital marketing.
Okay.
Because he went to school for film and then he went for marketing. And no joke, this is like 28 to whatever, the internet had been around for a bit. They were still teaching books from like the 70s, like, oh, you got to come up with a SWOT analysis and billboards and things like that. And they're still doing that in business school.
Yeah.
So he's pulled a lot of young people out of poverty, or maybe just young people who didn't want to go to college. They take his classes online. But there's another skill or a trade that's in demand.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. Yeah. You don't have to go to college.
That's where I made my money, digital marketing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I published my book, Dominate Twitter. It teaches people digital marketing. Yeah. One of those very underappreciated, not so well known about arts that are probably cheap. I think I paid $1,500 for my course. But I knew most of the information. I think I took away one piece of information from there that was just like a book on copywriting. They just introduced me to a book, and just them introducing me to a $30 book was worth the $1,500.
Yeah. Good.
Opened up a whole new world for me. Absolutely. Lauren said the biggest trick the government ever played on women was making them believe their time was better spent as wage slaves instead of raising their families. Oh my God, so true. So true. Is there anything we didn't cover today that you think we should have covered before I get to my final questions?
Oh, I don't know. It was your show.
Okay.
Let's talk about other shows that you don't watch because it was only had white people in them. I'm kind of curious. Like, it must have sucked for the 80s and 90s for you. Like there wasn't.
Well, let's see. I had Urkel, Family Matters. I watched. Well, I can't say it wasn't white shows. There was like this TGI Friday, right, slot, and in that was
Moesha and all that, or what?
Yeah, I watched Moesha. I did watch Saved by the Bell. I watched what's the one with the little twin babies? And the dude just died. Bob Saget just died.
Oh,
Full House.
All in the Full House. Yeah, okay.
I watched Full House. I watched Mr. Belvedere.
Wow, that's all. Benson? You ever watch Benson?
I watched Benson. I forgot about Benson.
That was old. Yeah.
What about the little robot girl?
Small Wonder.
Small Wonder.
Yeah, I was getting a little too old for that, but yeah, I was like, I don't know, 13 or 14 by that time.
Alf.
Alf. Okay. Oh, you did watch white shows then?
Yeah.
Okay.
Classic white shows.
Right.
Who's the little white girl I had a crush on? Punky Brewster.
Did you see how she grew up? Scratch Eva Mendes. I want Soleil Moonfry.
Soleil Moonfry, yeah.
Yeah, whoa.
Yeah,
whoa.
A couple of years ago, I had to dig her up and like find her on Twitter. Like, where is she right now?
Punky power right there, man. Holy cow. Ooh, yeah.
Yeah. What else?
What about cartoons? Like, did you Batman Beyond, Avi, or Batman and Batman Beyond? You didn't watch Batman?
I didn't
the
like
animated series?
Nah, that shit was trash.
Oh, what? Oh, have you watched it as an adult?
I mean, I watched it, but it wasn't like classic to me.
I think you're the only person in the world that has that erroneous opinion, but that's all right. You can.
I liked Gargoyles.
Those are very similar in terms of genre.
Right. They came on right after the other.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the Gargoyles was just more badass to me. You know what I'm saying? Batman was cool. Batman, it was cool. He was a little too skinny for me.
What?
I was skinny, so like I'm looking at the guy who's jacked. Like I want to be him. I don't want to be skinny Batman. I was a black belt. I was like, I can do what he does. That's not impressive.
You can talk to Batman Beyond.
Yeah.
Okay, not Batman, the original animated series with Bruce Wayne.
Yes.
Because he wasn't skinny. He was jacked. He was buff.
Oh, that one. I know you're talking about. Oh yeah. Nah, it just still didn't impress me. It just
Oh, I can't wait to see your comment section when we get to this part of the show. I can't wait.
Animaniacs, yeah.
Animaniacs,
was
yeah.
dope.
Okay, all right.
Spawn
yeah.
was cool, yeah. Different World, that was definitely, I watched every episode of Different World. Thundercats, yes, Thundercats.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Okay. Right.
My thing, you want to know what my favorite was?
Which one?
DuckTales.
Oh, that was good. Yeah.
DuckTales was the shit.
Crash Pad and Balloon. Yeah, Launch Pad, yep.
I mean, the money bin. The swimming in money.
Yeah.
I used to, as a kid, I'm like, how the fuck do you swim in money?
He's a duck. Some with ducks. They must know how to swim in money.
Used to just mess my head up. X-Men the animated series, that was cool. That was all right. Rescue Rangers, yeah, I'd watch it. I'd watch it only because I had to watch that before DuckTales came on, and I couldn't miss a minute of DuckTales.
No. All right, you have a diversified background in good 80s and 90s television then. I thought your parents just sat you down in front of the Jeffersons and that's all you were allowed to watch, your 227, and that was it.
No, I was the only child for the most part, and my parents worked late hours, so I was home alone till like 8 p.m. every night. So Tailspin, I love Tailspin.
Tailspin was good. Yeah.
Snorkels, yeah, I remember the Snorkels. That was dope. Goof Troop, more Darkwing Duck than Goof Troop. Three's Company was awesome. Dope.
The TV show?
Yeah. I mean,
wait, you must have been 4 when that came out.
Yeah, and he was still walking around with 3 women in his apartment. Yeah, I was like, I want to be Jack Tripper. That was the best white show ever, actually. Heathcliff was dope.
Heathcliff was good, yeah. And then Riff Raff in the gang, right?
Yeah.
Because there's Heathcliff and Riff Raff. Okay.
Heathcliff was super dope now that I think about it. It was Heathcliff better than Garfield.
Oh, Garfield was boring. Garfield and Friends, that is no.
Heathcliff used to kick your ass.
Right. They'd all be afraid of Heathcliff. The dog was afraid of Heathcliff.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Sanford and Son, my dad used to make me watch it. I was too young to get it. Now it's probably, I don't know what Freakazoid is.
It was part of Animaniacs style. It was same studio.
Classic Bugs Bunny shit was dope. Bugs Bunny and the Road Run and all that. That classic ones. I thought those could hold my attention for a really long time.
You're starting to run out. I think you've named every cartoon. Like, the only ones left would be in the 60s and 70s, like Johnny Quest or Scooby Doo or something that you probably weren't born around.
There's this one where they took all of them, all of the genres, like Hanna-Barbera, and then they turned them into like this Olympics.
Like on Adult Swim or Cartoon Network or something?
Nah, this was before that, man. Like, so would you mention like Johnny Quest?
Wait, yeah. Like Dune Buggy.
Right.
Captain Caveman, and they'd all compete. Yeah.
Yes.
And Huckleberry Hound and all those guys. Yeah, what was that?
Bro, I can't remember.
Wow.
That was my shit.
You can get it for free online. I guarantee you there's somewhere.
You probably
But yeah, remember
could.
they had a cave. Yeah, that's right. The Wonder
Wacky
Twins
Races, was that the name of it?
Maybe it was.
Nah, I think it had Olympics in the name or something like that.
The Hanna-Barbera Olympics, it could have darn well been called.
The Hanna-Barbera, all of those, combined worlds. I like Jetsons, but what was really dope was Voltron was dope.
Voltron. The lions or the space ones?
The lion.
The lions. Because did you ever see the one? There was another one with the space. It was like 30 different robots combined into one.
Oh, no, I never liked that one.
You never saw that one? You didn't like that?
I know that. I know what you're talking about. Yeah, some people got into that. It was called Wacky Races, was it?
Wacky Races. All right.
Man, oh my God, you taking me back, bro.
I'm sorry. It's
Wacky
Robotech. That would have been obscure if you saw Robotech.
Nah, I didn't see Robotech.
No, you didn't see Robotech. All right.
Oh yeah, the one with Bo Jackson, Michael Jordan, and Wayne Gretzky. That shit was kind of corny, but you kind of had to watch it because it was, Michael Jordan, Wayne Gretzky, Bo Jackson. So. Oh, what about Cops? Remember the cartoon Cops?
Oh yeah, like the machines would turn into like super machines, and they had like I think a mask. I'm thinking Mask.
No, not that one.
Yeah, Mask. They had a mask and that would sync up with the machine they were piloting. But yeah, I don't. Cops,
Oh.
man, that was a while ago.
Nah, this one cops. This one had like villains. Like it was very human like, but human villains and like the cops were sort of like miscreant good. Laugh Olympics. Thank you. That's what
Laugh
they called
Olympics.
it. Laugh
Okay.
Olympics. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, I got last few questions here.
Okay.
Because I could do this all day. Yogi Bear. Yeah, Yogi was dope.
That was awesome.
He-Man. Yo, let me tell you about He-Man, bro.
Okay. What about He-Man?
So He-Man was the shit back in the day, okay?
Right.
That was one badass white man, okay? So I had caught COVID last year. So I've disconnected from my phone, social media. For some reason, I was just a cranky old man while I had it, and I just didn't want to speak to anybody. So I turned the TV on, and I started binge watching everything, okay? So I watched the entire El Chapo series beginning. So I was like, once something was like, yo, watch this He-Man shit. So let me watch this He-Man shit. Turn it on. And I go about 5 episodes with no He-Man. And women are
new He-Man?
The new He-Man.
He-Man. Okay.
The new He-Man. Yeah. I go through 5 episodes, still no He-Man. It's just, I don't know, the bitches in this shit are kicking everybody's ass and they're running the show. They're leading the series for 5. And I'm like, oh, I see what's happening here. They got the feminist agenda and shit. And I couldn't even enjoy.
Took you 5 episodes to get to realize that?
5 episodes, bro. Because the first episode, it was He-Man.
Okay.
Then the second episode, He-Man had got captured and banished to an alternate universe or some shit like that. So I'm, episode 3, I'm like, all right, they're going to rescue him. Episode 4, I'm like, all right, they're going to rescue him. And I got to episode 5 and I'm like, oh man. What is this?
You know the same thing. I'll save you a lot of time. You ever hear of Twin Peaks?
Nah, what's that?
That's a pretty white show. All right. Okay. It was like Who Killed Laura Cooper or Who Killed Laura Croft or Laura Palmer. Who killed Laura Palmer? And they send an FBI agent into this small mountainous town. And the mystery is to find out who killed this missing girl, or she's gone or missing or dead. And all of a sudden you find out there's all this incestuous, not parental, but like the town has all their political interactions and relations and shit with one another, crossover all over the place. And you're like, well, when is the FBI agent going to solve this case? And then you realize, oh, he's just the vehicle to show you how fucked up this town is, how everyone's like backstabbing everybody else. And the sheriff is sleeping with the judge, and the judge's wife is, I don't know, running an illegal crime ring with the truck stop guy. And then it always ends with Agent Cooper having some cherry pie. And then when you figured out the formula, like, shit, fuck this. I don't want to watch this anymore. So it's like, just save yourself a bunch of time from Twin Peaks. It isn't worth it.
You remind me of Columbo was dope too, but Knight Rider was dope.
Oh
too.
yeah.
That shit was classic. But what was the one where like the murder mystery joint, where like somebody, you'd be in this house and then somebody would go missing or they died, and now you got to figure out who did it? Was it the butler or the maid or the?
Well, that's a movie called Clue.
Was that a movie?
Yeah, it was a movie. Yeah. Well, it was a game first, and then they made it a movie.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't think it was a series.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it might have been a movie. I enjoyed that nonetheless. So, as a young child, 20 years old something, I blew my mortgage checks on an extravagant lifestyle. And then I became a minimalist. And then I hear you toss around this term, minimalist. First of all, I want to know, were you always a minimalist? Was there a turning point where you became a minimalist? And what does minimalist mean to you?
Well, I'll answer in reverse order. Minimalism to me, I'm pretty convinced this would be the correct answer, is freedom. The less money you need, the more time you got. And because once you get past a certain income threshold, what really becomes more valuable is your time. And while I'm on this planet, I want to be working. Like I want to be, and I love the job I got now, asshole consulting. I'm on the internet. This is all fun. I'd rather be riding my motorcycle on a nice, warm, sunny day. I'd rather be going bowling. I'd rather spend time with my nieces. Rather spend time with my old man.
The less money you need, what?
The less money you need, the more freedom you have. The less money you need, the less time you have to work. See, everyone's got to work a little bit. Even if you think, oh, I'm on welfare. Yeah, but you still got to go down to that welfare office. You still got to go like act like you're poor. And you got to work way more at faking all this crap to get a government check that ain't that much to begin with in the first place. So you might as well have been working this entire time anyway. But that aside, the whole point is you're not here to work. Right? That is not your life. That's how these women are just so miserable. That's one thing I do believe. These girls are miserable. They think working and commuting and paying taxes and filing TPS reports, that's their goal. That's their dream. That's their, like, hey, look at me. I sat in a meeting. I have an MBA. I'm like, you're a moron. But no, and this was embedded in me because my dad was a pastor and I had to go to school. So it's always going to church, which is boring, especially to a little boy. And you have to go to school, which is a prison for a little boy.
Right. And
I always wanted to be out. I wanted to be free. And I could never figure out how a job was going to be like fun. I don't care what unless it's like Eva Mendes was involved in it somehow. I don't see how it was going to be fun.
Right.
And I always wanted to be outside playing. I always wanted to be doing. And as I've gotten older, my original intention or my original thought has been affirmed or confirmed, where it's like, yeah, life isn't about going to the bleeping office. It's about going out and living life and doing fun things, ranging from everything to like spending time with your kids and loved ones and family and friends to like going on great adventures and exploring this world. And so I realized just intuitively that if I didn't need that much money, like if I just could sleep, like I was even kicking around van life before it was a thing. But if I could cut my expenses down real low, just give with food, clothing, and shelter, that would give me all, I wouldn't have to work as much and I'd go be free. And then was I ever a materialist at one point or a consumerist where it's like things maybe? No. And the main reason is we never had money. There's a point in my life where we had kind of a solid middle income life. My mom married my stepdad and he had some money. I remember getting my first full Pepsi can. Like I could have my own. I didn't have to share it with no one. We had a color, dude. That was the big thing. He had a color TV and a second floor. We thought we were as rich as Bill Gates, who wasn't anybody back then. It was like, oh my gosh, he got color TV. I get my own can of Pepsi. So that was really nice, and we enjoyed that. But then I went right back off into college, and there was no money. My parents didn't help me out or anything. They didn't have any money. So yeah, I had to get by with what I had. And then what I kind of figured out, because back in the days when everyone would go to the mall, that's where the younger, you go to the mall because you socialize there or whatever, but they had all that the economy produced on display there. Like Spencer's Gifts. They had like really cool things like, lava lamps and all this weird electronic stuff. Like, oh, I want that. Isn't that cool? Isn't that neat? Well, I could never afford it. And by the time I was about 20 in college, I realized I didn't need those things because I had, I think probably was a Super Nintendo back then. I had a TV that I bought at Montgomery Ward's, hauled it back on the bus. Thing weighed a ton because it was a tube TV back in the day. I paid $350 for it too, which was a lot of money in 1993. That's a lot of money.
Absolutely.
And I just said, and I was like, oh, it'd be nice, girls. And then I did get girls for ballroom dancing and all that. And I never had that desire, like, oh, I need to get fancy clothes. I need to get some really cool whatever. I need, every guy would like to have a sports car. Even now, I'd like to have a sports car. I probably will never buy one because I can't rationalize it.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, and it's just kind of like, and you know what? It was nice. It was like never being addicted. And so kind of, even though it really sucked, not having money, it got rid of any of that urge or desire that everyone has. Like, oh, I really want this, Range Rover. I really want this McMansion suburb. I really want this thing. No, I'm like, hey, do I got enough for food, clothing, shelter, retirement, and healthcare? I do. Cool. You know what I'm doing? I'm going to go play golf. Or I'm going to go play Battlefield Bad Company 2. Or I'm going to go, even the video games. Like I got old console systems. I don't get the new stuff. I don't see the difference.
It's a huge difference, Aaron.
Oh yeah, you got to download all your games now. But yeah, and then when you get older and little people start showing up, like your friends or your brothers and sisters start having little kids, the nieces and nephews, awesome. Because they think you're like Superman.
Right.
You got a driver's license and you got a credit card. You could buy them chocolate and cake and things like that. And you take them down the slide and you show them how to feed ducks with bread. They think you're the coolest guy ever. And it's like, yeah, that beats a Ferrari. So yeah, I never was a materialist because I couldn't afford to be. And then when I got to a certain point, I was like, yeah, you don't need it. Yeah. I'm still living. I'm still alive. My health was good.
Right.
And then, but I always wanted to be free. So that's how, you say, okay, hike the Colorado Rockies or go make another 50 grand. No, I'm going to go hike the Colorado Rockies. That's all.
B Weezy Bird, he said, then came the Japanese stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho, where the main character dies a minute in. I never got it. I was too old by the time that shit came out. Yu-Gi-Oh and all of that. I was talking to girls by then. All right. So as far as the future of America is concerned, are you white pill or black pill, red pill? Where are you at?
Maroon. Well, I mean, there's always a chance. But no, I mean, I used to be, a sovereign risk analyst. I know how to analyze a country's finances and fundamentals. And I think the United States is generally in terminal decline. I don't think it's going to collapse. I think it'll just slowly decay as it pretty much has been, I'd say, for the past 30, 40 years. Until we all decide as a community we want to succeed and pursue excellence or just not screw up. I don't see this turning around anytime soon. So I think we're going to see more debt, more inflation, more money printing, lower labor force participation rates. Kids are still going to major in dumb crap at about 80% of the time. People are going to abdicate responsibilities. Nothing's going to be their fault. One very thin silver lining is that the children born out of wedlock rate has stabilized. It has not gone down. It is stabilized, but I'm not expecting that to turn on a dime. And I just don't see the work ethic within young people or people coming online that are going to turn this economy or this country around. And so my very next step next winter is to be doing some kind of global reconnaissance where I go overseas and find some property overseas. That's how much I don't have faith in the United States. I own crypto. I have silver. Normally, I'm very much against that, but I do have a mortgage, and it's like at 2.8% interest. I'm letting the inflation eat that all away. Normally, I'd be paying that off right away. Nope, I'm going to let that. I have no faith. And yeah, that's it. But I'm generally very maroon pill on the future of the United States. I wrote a book called "Enjoy the Decline: Accepting and Living with the Death of the United States," and that was written 10 years ago. So, kind of my position on this has been well established in the past.
Absolutely. I'm when I think about the white man, right? The white man that I wish existed, if it was Aaron Clarey, I'd be like, okay, we're in good hands. That white man is long gone. What do we have to do to have a resurgence? Because, we joke about this on our show, Hotep's Been Told You, every Thursday, 8 p.m. Eastern time. And, we talk about who's going to save us? Who's going to save us? And I keep saying there's going to be a white cowboy going to hop on his horse, grab his musket, and ride to the sun, ride from the sunrise and come save us, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Clarey basically is going to hop on his horse and
I'm going to go to a nice beach in Thailand, and I'm sorry, you have the wrong guy. I just keep on riding west, get a boat, go to Thailand. Hey, what's up, guys? Where'd he go? He didn't save our town. What happened?
You're supposed to save us, Aaron.
Okay, but continue on your very idealistic, hopeful thought. This is a great movie you're painting so far.
What is it going to take to make the white man fix his country?
But okay, it's not. Here's the problem. Okay, you're operating from the Democrat lens.
Okay.
It's like when a girl says, well, as a Latina female, it's like, oh, bitch, shut the fuck up. Okay. Do you have a brain? Oh, as a Latina female, what, you operate by different laws of physics? Well, math is different for you? Wait, it's the wrong thing. Because we're all in this together.
Nope.
Right?
No, we're not. No, we're not.
Oh, you don't think we are?
No,
Do you use dollars? Is your money green?
Listen.
You got kids. You got way more in this than I do. I'm catching a boat to Thailand. Look, you're here. When is Cowboy Cappy going to come in and save us?
Y'all stole this country from our people 300 years ago.
What different? Oh, God. Fine. Okay, you know what? We did. Yeah.
You are the majority in this country.
For now,
you are the majority of this country.
Right.
You were the majority of the government, majority of corporate America.
Yeah.
The shit's on your watch.
Right.
So when are you gonna fix the shit?
Me?
It ain't on my black ass.
I almost got fired from banking because I wouldn't go along with the crime. What okay, hang on. Seriously, what are white people standing for right now? You got I mean, I know you think well, no, but the MAGA hats and cowboys, certainly that's white, but you forget this huge other element of white people called women. And generally they're not Republican, and they're stabbing everyone in the back because they got a virtue signal about how woke they are and how much they just care about their little pets called minority children. No, look, I'm being serious. This helped me with my economic analysis and political understanding, all that.
Yeah.
Do not think as a Hispanic male, X, Y, and Z, because it's like, no, dude. We're all on this Titanic. Now, you might be on the second deck, and maybe I might be on the first deck, and rich Asians are on the top deck, but we're all in this boat.
Yeah.
All right. And there's an iceberg. Now, do we all want to grab torches and welders and start welding this shit?
Yeah.
Oh, we go, well, as a second floor cabin person, we don't have time for that. Okay. We all operate by universal rules of economics. Right. It's labor force participation.
Yes.
That's it. That's all it is. Are we going to all work and produce goods and services that are not only going to enrich us, but also pay back all the debt that we've issued to ourselves, to pension plans, not to mention to foreign countries that probably might like that.
Yeah.
Or are we going to pursue another life ideology outside of love and family? Or are we going to pursue another professional ideology, which I think is socialism, victimhood, and woe is meism? And the Black community, Hispanic community, they're not the only ones. Oh, I have a case of the Asperger's. I can't work. Give me disability checks. Oh, I think I like licking this genitalia today as opposed to yesterday. All right. White people got a gold Olympics in that shit. All right. You're not the only one. We'll create whole new reasons to be victims. And until everybody in the country's borders, regardless of what characteristics and traits you were born with, gets off their lazy ass, gets real jobs, real training, and starts working and supporting themselves, it's going to be over. Now, it won't be over like, boom, the collapse of whatever.
Yeah.
But we are going to slowly decay. Now, technology will slow that decay. It'll make it easier. Technology ekes out more economic production with less and less labor. But I don't think the technology is advancing and keeping up with the growth of parasitism, the welfare state, and just general laziness and sloth. And would you like me to show you the ultimate reason you're wrong?
Yes, please do.
Okay. What do rich white girls major in?
Black men. It's like, nah.
They major in the dumbest crap, man. The dumbest crap. And then you need a bailout for it.
Right.
And you go get master's degrees. And no, we all have to stop this. All right. We all have to get jobs. We all have to go back to this boring. I know this is boring Republican 700 Club stuff. You need nuclear families. You need to have men and women not fighting each other.
Yeah.
All right. You need to get along. You need to work together. We need to knock it out. We're going to promote you because you got a vagina. We're going to promote you because you like licking that type of genitalia on Tuesdays. Knock it off. We all get jobs. We all work. We all produce. We all kick ass. All love one another, like family, I mean, and men and women.
Yeah.
Then you might have a culture again.
Mm-hmm.
We might have something to be proud of, aside from I deserve that other person's money because of reasons or environmentalism or feminism, whatever various trait or variant of parasitism you want, until you're like, okay, let's work as a team for something bigger and better and make a lot of money along the way. It's over. Ain't gonna, and white guys, they're playing video games, jerking off to porn, as is every other male. No one's coming to save you. Roy Rogers isn't coming. Not Captain Cowboy Cappy. He's looking for a boat ticket. I mean, no, it's not going to happen. And I'm not to put it on you. I can be very flippant and indifferent because I ain't got kids. You got kids.
Right.
For all of you who have kids, you have to make this future good for your kids.
Right.
You got to be Ward Cleaver and Andy Griffith. You got to get involved in politics and the school board and all that, or homeschool as you're doing, which I think is much more superior.
Yeah.
But single guys who are minimalists, who their entire life, let me tell you another story.
Okay.
You know what race of people treated me the absolute worst? I'll give you a hint. I grew up in Wisconsin.
White people.
White people. Right. I was surrounded by white. Well, I mean, that was the population. So now, the shit they gave me shit for, like I had Velcro shoes because that's what we could afford. We were happy when Walmart came in. I got to get in fights because I didn't have Nike high tops. Those Cavarishi pants, people pick on me because I didn't have Cavarishi. I had whatever, Wrangler jeans or something like that. The people who treated me the absolute worst were white people. All right.
Yeah.
Now I understand it's because I was in that environment.
Right.
But I know, and by the way, this is the suburbs of Wisconsin. So guess what their political affiliation was?
Democrat.
No, suburbs.
I don't know.
They're Republicans.
Like
yeah. Okay.
Were they?
Yeah.
I think Republicans. I think rural.
No, this is suburbs. They were all Republicans.
Okay.
Fuck them. I don't care that they're Republicans. They were assholes.
Okay.
I really don't have any loyalty to this nation, let alone the white race, because I happen to have this color skin. I'm like, no, you're all a bunch of assholes. And I really am a misanthrope because it has nothing to do with, oh, these are my people. It's like, no, what were your actions and behaviors? Your actions and behaviors were treat people like shit, all become single moms, everyone get fat, and then bitch and whine how it ain't your fault and demand taxpayer money. No, I'm out, gone, done.
Yeah.
Out of this. So I don't know where you're going to find, a cadre of cowboy white guys to come in and save you until everyone decides that they want to make money and support themselves, including white people. This ain't going to happen.
Let me tell you why it's the white man's fault.
Oh, how's it at the fault? I thought we were talking about who's going to save us.
The white man, if he's going to save us, it's his fault that we haven't been saved yet because it's on him to save us. So it's his fault.
What if he can't save you?
He's the only one that can.
No. What if he can't?
He's the only one that can.
But then no one can be saved. See, that's my whole point.
We can be saved.
Okay, you could be saved by yourself.
No, I'm safe. I'm safe.
Yeah, I know you're. Okay, how are you safe? Who made all the right choices and decisions?
Me.
You. Are you white?
No.
Did you look in the mirror?
No. No. However.
We gotta go save the NPCs, huh?
We got to save the NPCs.
No, we don't. No.
So let me tell you why you're wrong, okay?
Okay.
My people.
Your people
are being led by your people.
Biden is currently the president now, yes.
We're talking about middle class to upper middle class white women are running politics at the hoi polloi level.
Okay.
Black Lives Matter is majority white people money.
Right?
Black Lives Matter
with it, right?
is the destruction of the black community. And it's only white liberals who have made this thing grow bigger. Communism is a thing in America because of white people. Okay?
Okay. Not even disagreeing with you so far. Lyndon B. Johnson was the guy who wanted to start the welfare state. I'm with you so far.
Right. Exactly. So if anybody's going to undo it, you got to turn around and you got to pimp smack your people so we can actually enjoy this country.
And then what will happen if we pimp slap our women?
That ain't got nothing to do with me, man.
You know what? Between a jail cell in the United States or a beach in Thailand, I'm going to the beach in Thailand. No, you're right. You're right. You get the highest echelon. But here's the thing: does the black community have agency?
Of course they do.
Okay, then don't
But that's
vote
my
Democrat.
job. But that's my job to take. I got the black community. I'm gonna take care of that, right?
Okay, you're gonna get them all to not vote Democrat. I'm not saying you gotta vote Republican. You all gotta vote Libertarian or Republican next time.
We don't vote Democrat. That's a big.
What do you mean you don't vote Democrat? You look at the polling number.
Can I break
it down?
I know
you don't. But
can I break it down for you?
Well, okay. I saw polling data the last presidential election.
Can I break it down for you?
Please break it down for me.
Okay.
Yes. All right.
Out of the black community, how many of them, or what's the percentage of them that actually vote?
Oh, I'm going to guess out of the adult population, 15.
15% votes.
Yeah.
Okay. So
that's what I'm guessing.
Okay. So what you said was the black community votes Democrat. The black community don't even vote. So how can you say the black community votes Democrat? All right. What you can say is the black voting bloc votes Democrat.
Okay.
Okay.
So
now let's stop right there.
Okay.
NAACP was started by who?
I don't know.
White men.
Was it? Okay.
Yes. We're being led by white men. I need you to go over there. I need your pimps back. I'm telling them, leave us the fuck alone.
How about you just pimp slap them or don't donate? How about this? Get the 85% to go vote whatever, Republican or Libertarian, not Democrat. All right?
They don't believe in the government, and they shouldn't because they're libertarian. They're anarchists. They don't believe in the government.
Oh, no, they're not. All right. How about this? When the black community, the non-voting bloc of the black community and Latino community, presumably too, goes and votes. All right. Then and they vote the Democrats out of office. Then I will go and on my riding horse with my lasso. I don't know, round up Nancy Pelosi and I don't know, drag her behind a horse or something. I don't know. How about this? No, I won't do it. I'm gonna go.
Once upon a time, the white man had that courage. He said, "You know what? I'll die for freedom in this country." And you lost it, Aaron.
Yes, I did. Yes, because I don't believe in the country's treated me like shit. I don't really like. I almost got fired out of banking. I got treated like crap at school. I mean, I dated the American women, mostly white girls. Not a fun experience, if you were wondering.
Right.
And now I'm told I'm the cause of all problems. Like, no, I don't want to. If you could guarantee me that I will be released from jail after I showed my pimp hand to Nancy Pelosi and whatever other leftist gals are in charge.
You've got to figure that out with your other white brethren.
No, we're going to. I hear Medellin, Colombia is very nice. Dominican Republic is very nice. A lot of motorcycle riding to do in Asia.
You're gonna bail on America?
Yeah, I'm not. You think I'm joking? I'm not. Because now I'm a single guy. I don't have any children. I'm a minimalist, so yeah. I don't. And this is kind of an observation I had. It's like, where was it? You ever see Guns of Navarone?
Nah.
Great World War II movie. Go ahead and watch it. But commandos going to Greece. They're going to go fight the Nazis, take out 2 guns. And so upon landing, they're already starting to run into trouble. And about halfway through the movie, after like the 3rd or 4th run in with underground or Nazis or something like that, David Niven says like, you know, ever since we've got on this rock, we've been run into one form of trouble or another. It's almost like they know we're here. And it's kind of the same thing. Like at about 40 years old, I was like, you know, ever since I came out of the chute, this has not been a friendly situation. I'm going to burn in hell if I don't believe in the guy who has a long hair and a beard. My teachers hate me. I got to go to this prison for all of my youth. Then I got to go to 4 more years of a prison, but I get to pay for it. I can't find no job. And then when I do find a job, I'm constantly threatened with being fired because I won't fabricate things. The women are fat and bitchy and mean and don't show up on time if they show up at all. Fuck this place. No, after a while, you got like, I'm in an abusive relationship. Fuck this country. You know? And here you are. Why don't you come in on your cowboy horse like John Wayne and Hell Pilgrim? Time to go save our brothers and Latino kin. No. You guys can all come visit. Look, you could come visit in Thailand. Come out to Burma, wherever I am. We'll all smoke some cigars and have a nice little bonfire or something. And it'd be great to see you guys. Maybe we meet in Dubai. But no, this hasn't been I mean, the 80s were kind of great with Ronald Reagan and all. And we, like when Atari came out, okay, those were some fond memories. Otherwise, even though we live in one of the richest nations on the earth, and I've had my food, clothing, and shelter taken care of, the mental community, the mental environment, the communal and social environment has been absolutely toxic. Yeah. And so, yes, there are some good people. Yes, I do have friends and people I love. But for the most part, the average American is a piece of shit. They are. And I kind of don't want to have anything to do with them anymore. And I'm all for everyone getting out of poverty. I'm all for closing wage gaps, and this community does good. And that I'm all for men and women getting together and girls liking guys again. We all make a lot of money. But the other thing you need is the rest of society to be on that plan. And most of the rest of society is that people over there are oppressing me, and those people with that plumbing hate me, and the glass ceiling and the patriarchy, and I need a bailout, and I need bank. No, I'm done with all you adult children. No.
So what's the tipping point? What has to happen before everybody says, you know what, fuck this, we're going to unite and we're going to fix this country together?
You need to start running out of your basics, like infrastructure, like rolling blackouts. Your electrical grid doesn't work. Water, food becoming scarce, and not like temporary scarce, like because of whatever the disease caused a supply chain issue for temporary. No, like the farmers stop growing food because say, F you, I'm sick and tired of being blamed for your problems. You're starting to see a lot of that now with the trades and especially accounting, where people are like, I'm not going to learn accounting. I'm not going to learn to weld. Like, have you tried to build a house or do any kind of construction project recently? You can't find tradesmen. So when all of a sudden, Tina, well, I'd like granite countertops. That's nice, Tina. But right now we don't have a functioning toilet. But I don't know how to replace a toilet. Neither do I, because I have my MBA. So, and then, but you've besmirched plumbers, and the plumber's backed up, 10 clients deep, and he's charging $5,000, which you ain't got. It's going to slowly get to that. But once that, there's not going to be like if all of a sudden the financial markets switch to a Russian-Chinese combo currency as a world's reserve currency, that would be an immediate crash. That would F shit up. But I don't see that happening as rapidly like that. There'd be a slow crossover from out of the dollar to another global reserve currency. It's just going to be a slow, but what would happen is all of a sudden, the lights don't work. You don't got enough gas. People don't have up north have enough heating. Natural gas is turned off because we don't, the infrastructure collapsed. We don't have a pipe that's working anymore. So when your two lower levels of Maslow's hierarchy of needs are starting to be threatened or unable to be met, that's when people are going to start panic and rioting and looting and not just a little bit here or there, but like on a nationwide scale.
I use this app called Coinbits.com to dollar cost average my Bitcoin, so I don't got to think about it, right? Why do you Bitcoin?
Because I bought one at $35 and another at $800 like 7-8 years ago, and I just held on to it since. But I don't actively trade.
Do you continue to buy?
No, I might get into it again because it's been coming down. But I kind of got enough of a position in Bitcoin that I'm not worried about it.
Okay.
I might get some more, but it's kind of like silver. It's like, I always recommend you get 200 ounces of silver, and you don't need much more than that. I got some junk silver on top of it, but it's an insurance policy. Once I got an insurance policy, I'm not worried about it.
Right.
So yeah, but I'm definitely, crypto should definitely be a part of everyone's investment portfolio. Absolutely.
Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, Aaron Clarey. Aaron, thank you very much.
Thanks for having me, man.
Hell yeah. Awesome conversation. Very candid, very honest. And I hope one day we can convince you to hop on that horse, put on your cowboy hat and your bandolier, and save America.
I'll send you a lasso from Thailand.
We appreciate you on this channel. This broadcast will be on Spotify and Apple, Apple Podcasts and SoundCloud as well for the audio version. So look out for that. Aaron, hang on while I end the stream here.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're not subscribed, please subscribe and look out for the next broadcast. Love y'all. Hotep and Bill.